CRWS, Countering Racism White Supremacy Book Club. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to CRWS, a review on Ambulance by Michael Bay. And if you are here for entertainment and not to learn about racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works, this broadcast will contain spoilers. So you have been warned, spoilers throughout. But yeah, this movie was very, very interesting. Very, for me personally, hilariously hilarious. It greatly displayed the 3 T's: the tackiness, the trashiness, and the terroristicness of existing within a system of racism, white supremacy. And yeah, the movie was a hoot, to say the least. And it lets us know that we're going to be presented with refined confusion, refined racism throughout a little bit of like glimpses of truth. You know, if you are able to understand what is being presented to you. So one of the first things that immediately I think I want to talk about is this right here, what the Black female says to Will, one of the main characters. He's off to meet up with Danny, even though he has told his wife, his pretend wife, that he's going to for a job interview. So he says, she says, "I don't know, good. I know you love him. Don't know why." You know, and if I were to like reply to her statement, I would say, well, he loves Danny because he's been trained to believe that a deep worship and affection and appreciation towards a person is love. And that is what he's actually expressing towards Danny. He's unable to say no to Danny, and he's been led to believe that Danny is his brother, a person you're supposed to have a deeper appreciation for, a connection with, if it's called that love. But in the system, that's not allowed to happen, and I think that's very evident in this film by how these brothers interact with each other. And yeah, I think I'll pause there because I've already been talking for a bit and let the other folks chime in. I do have a lot of notes, so I know I'm gonna be talking a lot already.
This is an excellent show of the refinement of the system of white supremacy. One thing that I did notice is the white supremacists positioned themselves on all sides of the chessboard throughout this entire film. You have your heroes, your villains, just very telling, very interesting.
Indeed.
Perfect example of why there's no such thing as marriage. Amy and Will, well, Amy's sick. She has cancer and she just had a baby. And Will was unable to provide the help that she needed to get the help that she needed for the cancer. So he had to go an illegal route. He tried to go, legit, but was given a hard time by the customer service woman on the phone. So perfect example of why there's no such thing as a marriage.
Yeah, precisely. I actually forgot about that scene in the beginning. Precisely how what led Will to need help from Danny, his so-called brother. He needed help. I don't know who has cancer. Is it the baby? Is it the wife? Don't know.
The wife,
Okay.
Amy, has cancer.
Okay. The wife has cancer. Her name is Amy. Okay, the wife has cancer.
Yeah, Amy, the attempted wife.
Okay. And Will is trying to get help. He's trying to contact a person for help, but he can't even contact a person to get help. He's getting all these machines, and then when he does meet a person who is supposed to be helping him, he's being mistreated, even though he's a so-called veteran who served the military, served the so-called country, in Afghanistan. But no, those titles did not allow him to get the help he needed because he's in a system of racism and white supremacy, and he's a black male, the person who needs help the most. But in this system, you're not supposed to get help. Help for you is very, very difficult, and when you do get some help, it's going to be in the form of non-constructive help, like let's go rob a bank. You would get $32 million. I just gotta help my wife with cancer. I don't really need $32 million from a bank, but hey, this is attackingness of entertainment that we've been allowed to be entertained by, and it's super, super interesting. And just one laughable moment that I thought that came to my mind was that all this chaos and carnage is like, this is the power of one white man. This is how one white man is using his power and assisting white supremacy. He has the Mexicans working for him, so-called Mexicans working for him, setting up ambushes on the police. He's able to just, from the beginning of the movie, everyone's listening to Danny. I don't know if I have a shot of Danny where he's not dead. Yeah.
Another interesting part about going back to the very beginning, when Will, the attempted husband, was on the phone and trying to get help, assistance for his attempted wife. If he'd had the code, he would have learned, or he would have known not to get emotional. But he did do one thing that was codified. He told the person on the phone to slow down because they were talking too fast. That was definitely code. So yeah, I want to give him an A++ for that.
Did you notice all of the flags that was around during the opening scene also? It put me in mind of the compensatory flag pledge. Did anyone notice that? There were several American flags in the beginning of the movie. And then he had the one that was folded in the triangle sitting right next to him when he was on the phone with the insurance company.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Continue, Mr. Ray. I did not notice.
Oh, yes. Just looking at the background. Yeah, just enumeration of flags. And then here we have this black male, this ex soldier in the army, begging for help. Haven't I served my country enough? Can't my country have my back, for me to provide for my care unit? Just, very interesting. And what's the name? Danny, his character was, playing another position as a white supremacist on the chessboard, in his ear. What does this country do for you? The refinement in this movie is just very intricate.
The very beginning of the movie, we're hit with this entire movie is refined programming. This movie is refined programming. The very beginning, we're hit with some really, really precise programming with directing, wanting us to give sympathy to this just white people, and this white child who was injured, and while they're training us to be sympathetic to this white child, they're also training the white children, to be strong, just be strong. Why couldn't it be have been, it definitely wasn't a non-white child who was being taught, how to be strong in a time of crisis, in an emergency situation. Definitely didn't see that happening. Definitely saw non-white people panicking and these sorts and these sort of situations. Yeah, and Will's name, that's really important and significant. Will, and throughout this film, he does not have a will of his own for the most of the movie. As for what I've seen, his will, like, he is controlled by Danny. Danny is his will, because in this system of white supremacy, our will, what we want to do, what we have been glad to think that we want to do and should be doing, that has all been like programmed a very long time ago from racist men and racist women. Like our values, our desires, our wants, and the things that we think are correct and incorrect, all that came from racist men and racist women 9 times out of 10. And I think that's what that name means whenever you see a character. Will, they don't have a will of their own. They've been programmed, they've been subjugated, and that.
Notice the constant so-called jokes about Will, like, oh, that's your brother? Oh, he can't be your brother. You notice that theme throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, that's some of the honesty that popped out was the scene where it was the other race soldier.
Yeah, it was the white male that was named Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, exactly. Mel Gibson. He said, that doesn't look like it, brother. And it
also,
it's not his brother either. So that's like, confusion. White people cannot be our brothers if they're, waging, well, if the races are waging a war against us, all the white people who are allowing them to wage the war against us, they can't be our brothers, not our brothers.
Yeah.
it also was pointed.
Go ahead, sir.
Just really quick, it also was pointed out by a non-white person who at times can be classified as a white person. Remember when Poppy said it when they were in the warehouse? He's not your brother anyway, so don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, T. Go ahead.
Yeah. Pretty much. I'm just adding to the Will name. When I was looking at the definitions, some of the synonym that went along with it was command, and that pretty much he was doing a lot of commanding for Danny throughout the whole flick. So, yeah, like with him just being the driver alone was just like, like, yeah. So
well,
I just wanted
Will
to add
said
that.
in his movie that I'm good at following orders.
Yeah.
Y'all remember?
Yep.
Exactly. Color monitor it up. Color monitor it up. Be like good with machines, good with a perfect driver. He's like like the best driver. This is a racist trope that we always see. The black male is like the ultimate creature. It can do anything besides be a person. Drive cars really well. The ultimate.
Yeah,
driver.
like I said, I wrote down follow orders. Same thing with Danny's
assistant or whatever guy.
Castro. Like he was pretty much just following orders throughout the whole flick too. Without thinking like is this wrong or good. Like I mean, he just just kept doing whatever Danny asked him to do, and like when he got into the ambulance, I thought that the bombs were in that ambulance to where he was going to kill him. So, but luckily he didn't die. So
The male that's on the screen right now is just there for comic relief, aka we are not the message that I'm getting from this character right here, we are not to be taken seriously.
Yeah, sports, not a care in the world. Yeah. I pretty much also thought that the white female was also comic relief. That was the one that was helping out the officer throughout the actual flick. Pretty much, she was like adding comic relief throughout too. So, yeah.
But even and then she's still being super helpful and like
Yeah, serious, very serious.
Yeah, but Castro, did anyone catch how like it was just super normal and nonchalant, just to mistreat a black male you don't know for Castro? He just a black male comes into your place, don't touch nothing, N-word. It just this is where the for me, I think this is like how they refine and normalize how it's just normal for us to mistreat each other in this way by calling each other nigga, thinking it's okay. Nigga equals nigger, and nigger equals nigga, and they both mean victim of racism, and none of us should be okay with our victim status on planet Earth under the system.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think the other refinement that was going on too was the whole white cop. Well, my fault. White guy, black guy thing. Because I mean, we saw this 3 times. It was with the cops. It was with Danny and Will, and then it was the 2 cops that were in the car, looking out at the bank. So it was that going on too, to where it was like, pretty much it's telling us to be cool with like, other white people in the car. And I mean, again, white friends are not good for any person who was non-white. So I also picked that up too, like early on in the actual beginning of the flick, prior to the, them robbing the, bank.
I want to talk about the Voltron effect. Notice when the cop was dying and the white woman was trying to save him, when she had to stick her hand up into his stomach to get the bullet, and they called the cops. I mean, they called the doctors, they called the surgeon, and everybody was like dropped everything. Okay, let me help you. Let me help you. Okay, do it like this, do it like that. I'm like, wow. But the black wife with that attempted wife that has cancer, whatever, she wasn't receiving that type of help. But you notice how everybody dropped everything for the white woman to help the white cop in the back of the ambulance. Remember that part?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Remember
Yes,
the doctor slid in, oh, your criminal friend, you and your criminal friend. Like, yeah, we still got time to slide one in.
And notice when they used the term criminal, it was always in reference to Will. It was Will that was not Danny, not the psycho, but it was Will.
Yeah, yeah, very, very, very correct. So did anyone notice the codes being used by the race soldiers? How they have like code 4, and code 0s and code 100s. And this is like a glimpse into how they've organized themselves and their so-called civilization around codes. And I thought it was very, very, very interesting how the codes were working for them and allowing them to do what needed to be done. And this is why Needful Junior, I suspect, has provided us with a code, the counter racist code that we can get from producejustice.com. And what white people have done with their codes that they've mastered, hiding messages in plain sight, and they've done it so well that you really got to, look really hard to find them, or you just have to be maybe less confused about race and white supremacy. But this dog here that we see, I have on the screen right here, we don't see like any German shepherds like hunting down or chasing down any criminals in this film. But I do think this dog is supposed to echo and back to the so-called chattel slavery days, where they were having dogs similar to this, hunting down, runaway slaves, or just, keeping Black people in check, through terror This is what this dog means to me. You know, he's riding around with a race soldier who looks like this. You know, with the shades. Trojan. Roman warrior. It's for me. It just harkens back to just ancient white supremacy tactics of using dogs to terrorize people. Although it's not saying that directly. They're probably nodding at each other. I may be incorrect. Does that make sense for folks?
Yes, it does, sir. And now that you bring that up, look at how white people, they are so slick. You just reminded me of something. They figured out a way to make it that the black male cop is driving around the dog at some point. And they have to back up because the owner of the dog, the white man, is like, no, can't hurt my dog. So y'all have to back up. But how ingenious they are to come up with that, to work that in.
I knew that this would come up. And if I may read a small excerpt from my papers.
Please do.
Oh, okay. All right, page 27, alienation, anxiety, and narcissism. For example, the dog, rather than God, proverbially is considered Western man's best friend. This is contrary to the beliefs of skin-pigmented peoples regarding their relationship to God. This concept of the dog as man's best friend is linked to the mythology of the founding of Rome. According to this mythology, Rome was founded by two orphans, Romulus and Remus, who were suckled by a wolf. Both the wolf and the dog are canines. These two presumably white infants are said to have founded the state that began Western civilization and culture. When this is decoded, Romulus and Remus are the symbolic representatives of the early albinos who were abandoned by their Black mothers in Africa as genetic mutant defectives, and in the process of their northward migration for survival were, quote, left to the dogs, suckled by wolves. This decoding explains the worship and love of the dog canine in Western civilization.
Thank you, Ray. Yeah, this film is super jam-packed with stuff. I think this film is doing a lot. It's most importantly, like most films, it's teaching us and reinforcing how we are allowed to relate to one another. You can pretend like this white person is your brother. You can pretend like this, cop, so-called cop is your it's not, your buddy, and you have to save him when he's harmed, and you gotta have to protect each other. Allegedly, you can pretend all these things because these things are not jeopardizing the system of race and white supremacy, and these things are just causing and allowing more confusion to exist on planet Earth. The way we allow you all to interact with each other, the way we allow us whites to interact with you all. And what is it teaching? It's teaching that, hey, when things are wrong, blame yourself. This black pretend cop here, or this black male who's been led to think that he's a cop by the white supremacists, he was blaming himself. Like, he was literally like, I saw him blame himself, and I saw Will blame himself, when the people who were to blame for this entire situation was racist man and racist woman. These people can only be white, but Danny was to blame, and the white cop was to blame for himself being shot. If you're following logic, how he could have made way better decisions, And I also saw this film teaching us, hey, yeah, anyone can deceive a black person. If you're on planet Earth, Mexican, so-called Mexican, brown, red, yellow, you know, it's also your job. You're supposed to know how to deceive Black people, you know, because they had no problem. This race soldier right here, or this, I don't know what classification this person is. Probably a race soldier, but yeah, just you're supposed to be able to deceive Black people, even if you think he's a cop. You're supposed to be able to deceive him, because just because we let him wear a uniform, white power is above all that.
Speaking of deception, did you catch the sidebar between Danny's friend when he was on the phone with the white woman paramedic when he instructed her to work on the weak link wheel?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that written right here. You need to work will, work his will, exactly. Because they knew he's programmed, the Black males is the program is targeted directly towards us the most. This is why we're, so, just in our position. So we're so devastated mentally and so yeah, I did catch that. Everyone knew. I thought the female paramedic, I thought she was a non-white person who may be a white person. I don't know.
Yeah, I checked. She's mixed. I think her mother is white, and I think her father is non-white. But she was born in Mexico. But yeah, she was definitely like. I mean, the whole time I was watching it, I thought that she was a white person. So
yeah. So yeah, that's yeah, exactly. So I'm sure the white people accept her and allow her to be white. So she's probably white. But yeah, very, very tacky.
Did you all notice the tackiness between the two Black male officers in the beginning? White.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They, bickering back and forth with ferociousness, then pulled apart by white men, and then told by the white man that you don't want to, if you want to blame somebody, blame me. It was my call, and he just automatically submitted, just restraints, totally restrained.
Yeah. That is an excellent, that's racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works. White people have us so confused that, we, conflicts will occur between us. They have to come settle it, and we blame each other for the conflicts that occur when we should be understanding, white people are to blame. And then the racist man comes, which is very rare for a racist man to pop out of nowhere when there's a conflict being, when a conflict is happening, to say, hey, I'm to blame for this. Because imagine if a racist did that every time conflict happened between non-white people. I mean, a lot of things would be differently, I suspect. But
it's almost as if they're listening. Like, hey, I'm the blame. Now.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. Yeah, I wrote that racist fessing up. The police in this film, so-called police, super codified. They have their tactics for hunting their prey, what they call their criminals. And this film, like just the way it was arranged with the sounds and the shots, just I was like, it's kind of intense, but I'm like, for white people, I'm sure they would classify this as very like thrilling, they enjoyed it. They enjoy like, lots of like gunfire and shootouts and mayhem and like car chases and like, chaos. That's what Danny's character was all about. He's like a white man having fun and smart with his white power, somewhat smart, as smart as he can be. Smart enough to have an army of like non-white people and some white people working, helping him and dying for him in the process. So white power.
Yeah,
fun, glory, and material gain.
yeah. Another note I took was when they were in the ambulance and Will said that he was O negative. I was like, oh god. And to where he was helping out the like, you know, cop get blood, and I'm like, man, that was really detailed, huh?
Wait. Was he O negative or O positive?
O negative.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He was O negative. But yeah, I had wrote that down. I was like, you know, another reason to help a white person. I guess.
Universal donor. It's delectable Negro. His blood is available for everyone.
Exactly. So is that what O negative means? I thought it was O positive.
I'm pretty sure O negative is a universal donor.
It is.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, that makes a lot of sense. Exactly. You know. Exactly. And that's symbolic how the system works. You know, the black must be, you know, the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate lamb, excuse the metaphors, the ultimate person who's suffering the most, who's losing the most, I suppose, who's most victimized, I should say, because so-called Asian people, so-called every racial classification that white people have convinced us that we should be using, if it means not white, we all have been victimized to a degree. But Black people, people who have been given this classification, the most have been taken from us. The most is being taken from us, and we are, you know, suffering. It seems to be the most. I may be incorrect. But yeah, we're given area by everyone seems to be like universal donor. Everyone who gets on, and everyone in this film knew how to deceive, you know, the Black people. The racially ambiguous EMT lady, deceiving Will throughout, you know, but she just knew this is a good non-white victim because
Also, that racially ambiguous woman, if you look at her earlier, she reconstructed her whole face to look like a white person. She's gone through like one of the most extensive plastic surgery transformations I've ever seen to become a white woman.
that's what the system's supposed to do. Well, not surprising. Yeah, she knew how to deceive. Knew how to deceive well.
You remember that part in the film when Danny's character had on the black mask before they were about to start the heist, you know, with the black gun, and he's looking at Will saying, "Do you think I enjoy this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And yeah, that's like, you know, cool. He for sure is having a blast, you know. It's yeah. Like do who believed him? Did I believe him that he wasn't enjoying it?
He enjoyed it to the last second.
Yeah, he enjoyed it to
that was the glory.
Yeah, exactly. And,
you know, he was asking them, "Do you know who my father is?" You know, just glory all over.
Yeah, and just the tackiness of this film, because it's really trying to be something you know, impactful. You know, it's really trying to like, you know, show something like, you know, like what family could be, or you know, what brothers are. You look out for each other. You know, die for each other. This is absolute nonsense. This is, you know, this is the tackiness and the trashiness in the trashy way they want us to interact with each other. You know, if you have like first of all, a black child should never be like, you know, in so-called adopted by a white person, because that's only going to cause more confusion. You know, this is how, you know, another reason why I don't adopt a black child, if you may be a racist, and if you're a white person, you may be a racist, because you know they may be convinced by a white person to rob a bank. You know, super confusion. You know, that's what white worship will allow you to do. You know, and then this scene right here when Danny is dying, and he's thinking about I guess a fond moment of him and his um, pretend brother, and his pretend brother is like playing the cop, and I guess Danny is playing the robber. And for some reason, this is a fine moment of him, his pretend brother shooting him, pretend shooting him to death. Why? Because this is the way we've been taught to interact with each other. You know, this has been taught to be normal, but it's just very, very silly, very stupid. And the results are, you know, the results are damaging, I suspect.
That's a very insightful analysis. I don't know about you all, but this movie gives me the Four Brothers vibe. You know, and while we're speaking on that subject, I don't know if y'all remember that movie Four Brothers. This gives me, you know, we were just watch Me, Myself, and Irene, and there are an enumeration of movies that gives the, you know, that connotation of white adopting black, white taking in black.
Yeah, Four Brothers. They had the white woman taking in. It was a two white guys, two black males. And,
it was Andre Benjamin, Tyrese,
Mark Wahlberg.
I don't know that last one. He was like real vampire, weird looking.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely remember that flick. It's on, it's on Netflix right now.
Yeah, it's on the screen right now. Well, it should be on the screen right now.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, it's like the races every now and they'll churn out one of these, you know, these kind of films, I suppose, where like, you know, we will see white people or non-white people in proximity to each other, and we're supposed to think, I don't know, racism is not here anymore. I didn't hear any racism mentioned at all, you know.
Yeah, another film that was very similar to this was Baby Driver. This movie came out in 2017. But basically, Will was not the actual main character in Baby Driver. Like he was taking on like, you know, like assignments and driving around and, you know, giving blood. But pretty much it was similar to that, where he was driving around and doing all these crazy like stunts with the like driving, and they was like, you know, complimenting him throughout the whole flick for like doing this. And I'm like, you know, but yeah, pretty much this movie also gave me similarities to Baby Driver. It came out in 2017.
Did anybody speak at the very, very beginning when you see Will and Danny as little boys? Did anybody speak on that part yet?
Speak on it?
Yeah, the intro to the movie when you see Danny, he's a young child, and he looks like what, about 9 or 10 or so, and he's leaning against a wall, and then Will walks up and he has a spray painting, like things that you carry to spray paint in, and he has on a white shirt. It's very, very, very beginning. He has on a white shirt and it's dirty. Now, if Danny's family adopted him or took him in and take, why does he look like that? Anybody notice that in the very, very, very beginning?
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. I mean, it just seems as though he was homeless, and next thing you know, they're, you know, walking around and, you know, having a good time. So yeah, I mean, pretty much, it looked as though he was taking pity on him. Yeah.
When it shows the scene of them as youngsters in the cowboy robber get up, it kind of puts me, I may be reaching, but I don't care. It puts me in the mind of an old so-called American classic known as Huckleberry Finn. And Huckleberry Finn had a young black male sidekick who in old Huckleberry Finn text was referred to as Nigger Jim. And so that's what these two.
Nothing on the screen. Wait a minute, Ray, real quick. Verify there's nothing on the screen. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing on my end. Thanks, though.
Okay, go ahead, Ray. Apologize.
Yeah. So Huckleberry Finn and Nigger Jim. That's just what that looks like. You know, that whole cowboys and robbers. You know, old time, old Western type of memorabilia that the white supremacists are always regaling in. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I could see that. I get that feel, most definitely. Yeah.
Also, we were talking about, the Asians in '05 mentioned white supremacists on the hunt. Did you all notice that white officer's feverish behavior towards the non-white Asian bank teller? How he just had to get in there and have her?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had wrote that down, like, right before '05 you started it, pretty much. Because like at first I thought that he was going in to ask for the black guy, because I mean, but pretty much he was the one that was asking, the actual date for with the Asian female. You know, wrote that down too.
And notice how the white woman, the EMS, what's her name? Inez? Inez?
EMT.
EMT. Yeah, but what was her name? I'm gonna get her name. I can't remember it. Her real name.
Cam.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's her character name, T. But yeah.
Cameron.
So Cam. Yeah. So Cam, she was carrying Will, or helping to carry Will. She's helping she's like, no, y'all have to save him, and he tried to save me, he tried to save the cop or whatever. And just imagine what that imagery will, how I want to put this, the psyche, what that does to the psyche, to see that white woman is helping Will, where his wife, attempted wife, is not, she's unable to help him, screaming. Exactly, she's screaming on the sidelines or whatever, but yet this white woman, EMT, worker, she's able to save him, she's able to help him. I mean,
and then
that.
Go ahead, sorry.
Just that image alone, we've been talking about the justice statue, the white woman. She can either help you or destroy you.
Excellent point, right there. And so we see how we are trained and programmed to go after, I'm talking about black males, how to go after white women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, even the FBI agent tried to stop her, so Anson Clark, the FBI agent that was anti-sexual.
Even the black male said, we'll get to him in a moment.
Yeah. Again, another scene where he was anti-black toward another, a black person.
Wait a minute. It just came to me. Not only was the white woman, the EMT Cam, was she able to help Will or whatever, she also winds up helping Amy Sharp, Will's attempted wife, by giving her the money. Oh, wow. I didn't even think about, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, Will took some of the money out. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, my apologies. Were you finished with your point? I don't want to interrupt. My apologies.
No. Pretty much, like I said, prior to her, trying to save Will, after she shoots him, like I said, Will takes some of the money and puts it in her bag, and then he pretty much told her to give this to my wife. So that's all.
She also gave information which aided criminals during the commission of a crime. When she alerted them when they were about to snipe them, and she repeatedly, gave them information. So she still got to walk away.
Yeah.
So she, in a way, as what all white supremacists do, she positioned herself on a few different sides of the chessboard.
Yeah, like I said, when they
I think it's called aiding and abetting, right? I think aiding and abetting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, like I said, they called the officer's cell phone number, and then she picked it up, and and then that's when she alerted Danny that it was Sniper. So yeah, she was complicit.
Yeah, I just see that as well. I was getting Stockholm syndrome from her character, but if she's not a non-white person, then it seems like she's a racist woman who had a lot of power in this film. So I thought this. Did anyone get the like the idea that this film was like this massive blackmail misandry, and just showing black males in really incorrect manner and placing them in really incorrect situations that the reason they're in that they're in there is because of racist men and racist women, but then they're still blaming themselves for it, and still are not able to be truthful with their complementary half, the black female, it seems, because
Yep.
what do we see Will do? He's he's like in the middle of a car chase. He's like, people are dead. He's still lying to his black female about, yeah, I got the job, sweetie. You got the job. Like, what the fuck is going on? Pardon my off-code language, but Jesus Christ, what the hell is happening? What?
Hey, what about that last video call? And she was like, just thank you for, just being a man. And I was like, my gosh, this is so cringe-worthy. Extremely tacky video call.
Yeah, that was at the 1 hour 32-minute mark. Pretty much. When he got the phone call. Yeah, that was kind of cringe. But yeah, I mean, I just thought that Will was wasting a lot of time and energy, trying to help Danny, when I mean, pretty much Danny was not helping him whatsoever. Even when he even asked him to go along with this. I mean, it wasn't like he was, asked to do it. He just went along, in the actual car, and next thing you know, now he's in this car chase with, a bunch of officers and FBI agents. Yeah, like I said, to me, I just thought, Will wasted a lot of time and energy, trying to save his so-called brother. Like I said, brother, family was brought up by Danny, saying that we're family. And like I said, then, also calling Will a hero. Mm, I didn't, no, there's no way he was a hero at all. Like he was pretty much a savior for the white people throughout this whole flick, from the white officer to the white EMT to Danny. So
Yep. Black male trying to save people who are plotting against them throughout. Very, very very symbolic of what we're actually dealing with in the system of racism and white supremacy. Super pitiful. Yeah, and they definitely showed us that this is how we are okay with y'all interacting with each other, pretend to be buddy cops. We saw like this imagery right here. These cops, we saw the black male cop and the white race soldier SWAT cop working together allegedly. So yeah, acceptable images, but white people, non-white people producing a system of justice. Why can't we get films about that? Why can't white people produce? It could be an action movie, and justice is produced. No one's being mistreated. Those can be helped, receive constructive help. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a film. Yeah, ultimate.
Then I'll come in.
Yeah, just have to be a film where the ultimate black male misandry, where everyone, it seems to be on the racist code, where we are gonna mistreat the black person, we're gonna call them nigger, we're gonna deceive them, and we're gonna use them for our plots that gonna that we're gonna benefit from mostly. Danny brought his so-called brother and to do a crime that was of course super dangerous. If you're taking like that sort of artillery, those guns to a job, of course it's going to be just really stupid, really incorrect. And go ahead, Tevin, and then Miss B.
Yeah, pretty much just references that was brought up in the flick when the white guy got out the car to ask the Asian female right before he even got to the door. He told his fellow officer, the black male, said that we're the bad boys. Another reference was the North Hollywood shootout back in '97. So if this is 2022. That was 25 years ago. So that's all.
I want to point out another moment where Will was on code when he was talking to Danny when they was at the mafia place or whatever, and
Yes.
yeah, and Danny was like, I don't know, they were having that argument or whatever, and Will was saying it's over. Like, we're not gonna make it out of this. We're not gonna survive this. And Danny was like, no, we can or whatever. And then Will said, what's your next plan? Like, what's your next move out of here? And that was definitely a code, on code. Definitely a nearly Fuller moment to me.
Indeed, plan your work and work your plan. Failure to plan, planning to fail. One thing, the last thing that I would like to point out is, does anyone remember the part where they began to infiltrate the AirPods that Danny was wearing? I just want to point out at that moment and all throughout, non-white people need to realize that all communication has been compromised. And so we really need to be more precise and more codified with what we say over the airwaves.
Yeah, that was during the scene where they were singing that Christopher Cross song "Sailing." Yeah.
Oh yes, I put the link to that song in the
oh yeah, I saw that
in the chat here. Yeah.
Also, these were just two Wellesley moments. Danny made Will coffee in the beginning, and I believe one of them. Well, I think it was a white man. He was smoking a cigar. So that was two other things that I saw.
Yeah,
Yes, I got that also.
yeah, that was his character Poppy, right? This is the character they were calling Poppy or whatever, Roberto's father, victim father. Yeah, this scene was super tacky, terroristic, trashy as well, because it's, it just shows, wow, they got Will programmed very well. Military the system, race and white supremacy has programmed Will so well, because he is so easily able to just kill non-white people, it seems, just protecting a white person and a white woman, a person who's allowed to be classified as a white woman. I thought while it was under the guise of action, and a cool shootout scene, what I saw is this black male, is willing to kill for his white brother, not killing defense, but just kill on command. I'm good at following orders. We can recall him.
You all remember the scene when Danny's character and the police officer that we don't stop, and then he says, "Well, neither do we."
Yeah, it's like that's a rich man and rich woman mentality.
That reminds me also of which Batman movie was it with? The Dark Knight, when Heath Ledger had said, when he was hanging upside down at the end of the movie, I believe he said something similar to, "This is what happens when an unstoppable force encounters an immovable object."
Yeah,
y'all remember that?
Yeah, it's like this film is also about white power clashing. We see various clashing of white minds, racist minds. You have this racist mind clashing with this racist mind, clashing with, you know, this racist mind somewhat, and of course the main racist mind, this one right here. But they're all still somewhat working together. The other three working together more against this racist right here. But yeah, still all very much having white power, you know, existing as a white person in a system of white supremacy. I thought it was very interesting. You know, we get an anti-sex, right, anti-sex white person, and a, you know, more, you know, traditional refined white person and white women. Did anyone catch those? Get that as well?
Yes, sir. It's unfortunate. And Will, the black male, he sort of represents non-white people. We're taught to save people. And you notice how Jake, the white man, and this Jake Gyllenhaal, Danny, or whatever, when they were having the argument again inside the mafia place or whatever you want to call that, and he was just like, you know, let's leave the cop, let's leave the EMS, and let's ride off into the sunset or whatever. Like, just leave them.
Yeah.
And the black male is like, no, we can't do that or whatever. And that is why, unfortunately, that is why white people are on top, because they are willing to sacrifice. They are willing to do the harm, and we're saving people. We're you know, we try to help, we try to save. This movie to me comes off like, you know what, black people, non-white people, see, if you're nice to us, even though you're gonna be mistreated, you know, maybe one of us might help you. That's what it come off to me. Like, the message is very clear.
Yeah, they have all the tools and technology to, you know, do so many things, but help non-white people, you know, stop practicing racism. You know, that's, you know, we're gonna have to do some studies, you know, we may have to, you know, and get back to you in 10 years and talk about progress with that. But yeah, you know, organizing a ton of people. I like, if you were paying attention, I certainly was trying to, with how this racist was talking, or this suspected racist was talking. He was like, he's knocking my cars around like tin cans, you know. And I'm like, the way he's describing this police chase is that, you know, this is like a game, you know, this is like some sort of game for them, where like these tools of you know, oppression, these tools of terror, like police vehicles, are easy. You know, this is just like a guy, a powerful white man who's allowed to, you know, order around these vehicles, and it was fun for him, and it was just a war game type situation, and that's what I was getting from it. And him, you know, being a Trojan, you know, a Roman warrior or something like that. It's just has to be
Mr.
that.
Fuller.
Yeah.
Mr. Fuller does say that this system is the most efficient in producing materials. So yeah, for him to just reference that all 10 cars, 10 cans, it's nothing.
It's like, yeah,
give me 100 more.
Yeah,
more. Give me 1,000,000 more.
Yeah, it literally reminds me like I'm playing a video game, like literally playing a video game. It's like, you know, all right, I just lost this unit, I have 1,000 more. You know, this is how the system literally functions. You know, it has, you know, race soldiers. Of course, it has an infinite amount of those. You know, it has led us to believe that. Super interesting.
This movie also reminds me and helps me to appreciate race code war, because without that book, I wouldn't have noticed this. That how Kari Inaharo, how he explains how, look how the close association to brown things when white people say things. And there was a line in this movie where they mentioned Oprah. They mentioned Oprah and shit in the same sentence. And if I hadn't read that book, I wouldn't have picked up on that. So definitely buy that book, Race Code War by Kahari Inaharo. I may be pronouncing his name wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, very good book.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how in film they have no problem casting these like Mexican gangsters or whatever. I don't know if these Mexicans are supposed to be white or non-white, the cartels or whatever. So I'm sure some of them may be white, some of them probably non-white. But they seem to be compared to the black non-white people in this film, they seem to be definitely more serious, especially when they're doing the ambush or they're preparing for an ambush, and Castro is like, still confused. He's like, asking Danny, hey, are you in trouble? Had he
Yeah,
like checked his phone? Had he checked
he's
his phone
in
one time, he probably would have
he's in
started
total
shooting.
fear. Like it's like,
Yeah,
man,
yeah, well, yeah, but the other like non-white people, the
yeah,
gangsters are like,
straight control.
yeah,
Like,
our body are
give me the
super,
phone. I need to talk to Danny. Like,
super, super serious, and yeah, this is
And
exactly.
notice how they had to have two black males fighting each other, the two cops
Oh
fighting each
yeah,
other.
yeah,
Had to have that.
yeah, that was brought up.
yeah. We definitely went over. Yeah. Over something silly too, over miscommunication. They don't want us to be able to communicate properly. As soon as our miscommunication happens, or there's an error in what we're trying to communicate with one another. Oh, that's it. Now we're fighting. Now we're in greater conflict. First it was just words. Now, it's physical, because this is how we're allowed to be, and this is how they appreciate and want to see us forever. We have to get on their code. Neely Fuller has taken their code and made something that we can use from their code, their white code. So it's called the counter-racist code. And you can get it from producejustice.com. It's super important that every non-white person, especially if you're a black person, because this film, Black Male Misandry, it's just, and also just an attack against all non-white people, but black people in particular. We are the ones that have to take. I hate to say it, but I have to take charge of solving this problem, because the record shows that people follow us. If we're spinning on our heads, next thing you know, a bunch of Asian people are spinning on our heads. So maybe we should get serious about solving this race problem, and we'll have a number of people doing the same. I may be incorrect, but I know we don't got to see more Michael Bay films to. You shouldn't have to watch any more Michael Bay films, unless it's going to be in a system of justice. I'm checking make sure I went around my notes. But meanwhile, folks want to chime in, please feel free.
Something that I've noticed quite often through the years, white men calling black males brother. But when they're talking amongst themselves, they don't call each other brother. They just talk regular, just talk. But all of a sudden, they have a different dialect when they're talking to non-white people. They have to go yo, 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 and brother and stuff like that. And I just want non-white people to pay attention to that. Notice the change and ask yourself why. Why do you think they talk like that? Yeah. So that's all from my notes that I could think of, unless somebody else brings something else up.
Yeah, just going over everything. You had a teacher named Miss Burns. Could have been a little homage to one of the longest running pieces of racist propaganda, The Simpsons. Our family, they don't have a family. Will, black male in this film, did not have a family. 0526 black male, and in reality, I do not have a family because I have been captured by a racist man and racist woman, and people who are captured, who are prisoners of war, have families or brothers. I love and miss you. I don't know what that means. When Danny and Will are saying that to one another, and they probably don't really know what it means. Yeah. Well, Danny does, I suspect. I suspect Daniel is just practicing racism and white supremacy on his so-called brother. Yeah. And I notice how when even when Danny is interacting with the brown people, he's more courteous, than when he's interacting with the black people in this film. That's something I read in my notes that I wrote down. The difference. How he was talking to them. Color monitored throughout, just him, Will being a super, super amazing driver. We've seen that.
I got that also. I put in parentheses the machine inside the machine.
Exactly. Yes, yeah, and that's why he's so good at controlling the other machines, because we've made the perfect machines, and now we can use this perfect machine that we, racist men and racist women, have created to use for our purposes. We can sit back. We can now be the shooters. We could be the shooters, and they could be the drivers. We want to have the fun. Driving is boring when the shooting to be done. So yeah.
In the beginning, there was a black male street performer. Okay, and there was a line Danny said to Will when he first saw him in that car place where all the cars were lined up. He said, "Rich people don't like when you enter their shit. Makes them feel guilty." I wonder what that means. What do y'all think that means?
Well, rich code for white people. So yeah, it's just code for, hey, white people don't want to know just an insane amount of wealth that they have in plain sight, and the wealth that they don't want to know about. Yeah, if we knew all the treasures and trinkets they stolen from non-white people, I'm pretty sure we'd be even more devastated mentally than we are already, without knowing.
Could be that deep down they know they don't deserve it. It may be why they feel like that. And for them to say that they feel like shit, maybe saying that they feel like us because they know the position they put us in.
Interesting. Yep. Yep, feel like shit. Yeah, feeling like shit could definitely be code for it. Makes kind of feel like a black person, icky. It makes my feelings feel all weird. I'm a Urugu, so I don't really have a good understanding of my feelings because I am a Urugu. Check out the Urugu book study if you want to have an understanding of what I mean when I say Urugu. But yeah, and this film is also promoting this stupid silliness that we've been fed for a long time in the system, which is like you're supposed to want to kill for your family, ride for your family, die for your family, ride or die for your brothers and sisters. All that is stupid, and we all should be very serious about ensuring no one has to die or kill for anybody. Sister or brother, or so-called family members. All the nonsense that has been fed to us for our existence, it has to be called for what it is. It's racist poison propaganda that have been given to us in the form of thoughts, and we have to understand and hopefully correct these thoughts so we can produce a system of justice where no one is being mistreated and people who need help receive help. Very simple.
Did we talk about the cinematography of this movie?
We have not.
I know it's not about racism and white supremacy, but I
It
did not like
it. Always is. It always is. But go ahead.
Yeah, I did not like the angles that they had the camera coming in from the top, swooping down to the bottom. I was like, what is going on here? Stop
It's like their eyes are everywhere. Racist man and racist woman, their eyes are everywhere. You know, they are in the air.
Good.
You know, they're in the they are
Big
the
brother,
air.
what he's watching.
You know we're safe. You know, just
You remember the movie Eagle Eye?
I haven't seen it.
Yes.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh no, oh 05, you gotta watch Eagle Eye. Oh man, you got yeah, man, put that on the list.
Think. Oh yeah, and I want to talk about how even within like police codes, you can still see racist code through their police code, you know, because you know, we saw that when they weren't giving the people who need help some help. Like right here, you know, he got shot, he needs help. The other guy right here, he also got shot. He also needs some help. But hey, you know, we're gonna practice our racist code. And because you know, you guys didn't give us the courtesy of, you know, I'm not doing this police chase thing with y'all. We're gonna let you guys die here. You know, that's our racist code. You know, that works for us because we don't have to do any paperwork, you know, go through the trial and all that. You guys will just be dead and we'll be the heroes, and you guys will be dead criminals. So that's the you know, the racist code coming through from what we have been taught to believe is police code. Does that make sense? I just said, because I really have to ask something like this. That makes sense?
Yeah, there's this invisible blue code.
Exactly.
I suspect I understand what you're attempting to convey. I also I added some real codes in on the WhatsApp if anyone is interested. I came across these some time ago and have been studying them, you know, various codes amongst the white supremacists themselves in law enforcement, military, you know, maybe if you someday, may not be.
Yeah, I'm seeing these codes, and I used to play a simulation where I had to learn a ton of these codes. So yeah, these are yeah. And when I was using these codes, what I observed was like, wow, this is super effective. It really allows us to get things done effectively. And that's what people are all about, getting things done effectively. This is how they become so dangerous. Because they're effective, and this is what we should want to copy. We want to copy that effectiveness that they have mastered, so we can, you know, do that to produce justice, or just stop being mistreated by white people. You know, whatever that means. You know, we should be doing that, but allowing them to mistreat us 24/7 in all areas of people activity, incorrect. You know, them mistreating us in economics, incorrect. Entertainment, incorrect. Education, incorrect. Labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war, all people's activity, even the ones that are not mentioned. They're mistreating us in all these areas, super refined, in a super refined way, and it's incorrect. And that should be more than enough to motivate us to want to stop that, to stop them. And we can do that with a code of behavior and thought of our own, and not what they have given us, because that's what's happening here. The way we exist, it's how we've been taught to exist by them. Racist man and racist woman. You may have think you were raised by a mom or dad or a parent, but through them, through those people that you think are your parents, the racists were the ones teaching you. That is a tragic fact.
I mean, really, at the end of the day, right? If your attempted parents, they are employed by racist man and racist woman 9 times out of 10. And that's where we get our, you know, so-called housing and food from them. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to stop lying to ourselves and thinking that, we are the ones. No, no, no. We're getting everything from them. Even the money has their face on it. So, let's just get honest with ourselves. That's why we don't have parents. That's why we don't have friends, associates, because everything is given to us by them, from them. I don't know if I'm making any sense, or maybe, I don't know.
No, that made
you're
sense.
Logical.
Oh, it's very logical, and I hope in the future that we get even deeper with that, because the proverbial rabbit hole does go much deeper.
Yeah, I think we may be able to wrap up after I discuss. I don't have any screenshots of them.
Yeah, but you saw right in the beginning when he had the white shirt, how dirty it was.
Oh yeah, I'm train tracks. Yeah, they're supposed to be, brothers, being taken care of. But I saw a lot of white sacrifice in this film, like Daniel sacrificed a lot of people, and the writers of the film also threw in a race soldier sacrifice. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting a race soldier to die, because they're always hesitant to do that in these films. They don't want a lot of, especially white. Well, yeah, if a race soldier can only be white, so I don't have to say that. They don't want to see race soldiers dying unless they're dying by like supernatural forces, overtly supernatural forces. But yeah, that's really some refinement right there. Real refinement.
I think that the races are aware that they're going to have opposition from within. That right there reminds me of when Joe Biden was getting ready to get into office, and he was coming to the White House, and all of a sudden he had stopped. I don't know if you all remember all the chaos that was going on, but the premise was the military that was at the White House and surrounding the Capitol, just all in DC, they had intelligence that the majority of them were Trump supporters. And so they had some sort of in-house fear of a takeover because the majority of them are Trump supporters. So, the white supremacists have always shown, within their ranks, their houses, what have you, they're perfectly fine with committing violence against one another, if need be. It's all for the expansion of the system of white supremacy.
Shout out to who just put this in the chat. I think it was Mr. Yahoo. Shout out to Mr. Yahoo for putting this in the chat. And we're gonna watch a little bit of it because it's definitely on topic, with racist propaganda, racist deceit. This film is trying to promote that Black people, my bad, that people classified as Black by white people can have a family, let alone have a family with a white person. This is absurd, and white people know this, but they want us to think that we can't have a family with white people. They want us to think that this is correct, that this is should be happening, that this is logical. If a group of people are not giving you the help that you need, and they are waging a war against you globally, they cannot be in your family. And if you try to pretend that they're your family, this is the tacky stuff that you're gonna get. Just like stuff from this film. And I have a question for Mike. And I'm gonna get it on the other screen right now. We may not watch all of it. We may watch all of it. Let's see. I will speed it up a little bit. People.
Do y'all ever ask your grandparents or parents if they ever attended any lynchings? If they ever, I don't know, attack black people at a diner, do milkshakes at them. If they ever attacked and bullied black kids going to school when integration happened. Because black people, we have the conversations with our family. We know what our parents and grandparents went through.
Yeah, and this is a tragedy, this black female here, non-white person, she's also confused about racism and white supremacy, and it's not her fault. It's the person to the left fault, if anyone's.
But who was doing all that? If our people are still alive and they experienced it, who were the white people doing that to them? Because y'all love to act like that shit is so far removed from our current reality, from current times. But what happened to our family, the perpetrators could be in your house. So do y'all ask? I'm really curious. Do you ask? For white people, do y'all ever ask your grandparents or parents if they ever attended any lynchings?
Some of y'all's getting on here lying, and some of your grandparents and great-grandparents has lied to you. Because if all of our ancestors got along with everybody, there wouldn't have been racism. So let me be one of the first to come on here and tell the truth about what I know or have heard about my ancestors. I know a lot of us love our grandparents, but that don't mean they're always telling us the truth about what happened when they were younger. I know that my biological grandfather on my mother's side was not a good person and was very... He would often tell my mom that she was not allowed to be friends or date black people. My mom met a black girl named Lynette, and they became fast friends. My mama was already getting bullied because of how...
Actually, I'm sorry. I actually do not, don't care to listen to this right now. I've seen this racist right here before, so I'm not even gonna listen to her not tell the truth. So yeah,
Making excuses.
yeah. So yeah, I know where that's going. I'm not gonna waste you guys' time. You got tons of instances one can find where white people are adopting black children, pretending that they're in a family, and next thing you know, a whole family's dead. The Sarah Hart families case comes to mind immediately. And also, for the recent, it was a recent, but forget the people's names. The Brian Coulter, and that's a white man, Brian Coulter or something, and I think her name was Gloria, but they thought, I think they could do a little pretend family thing, and then the white man killed one of her black children, her pretend black children, her offspring, I should say. But yeah, it's just tacky. We're living in a really terroristic situation, y'all, and we gotta really give up these titles that we've been handed down by our slave masters, known as white people who practice racism. Yeah, we're not. And if you are gonna be, thinking you're in a family, have a definition for it. Have like a functional definition that is working for you. And if you have a brother or sister, have a functional definition, codified definition, even that it's gonna work. It's gonna make sense. But thinking you have a brother and thinking, because you have this brother, you are supposed to, do crimes together or help each other, do silly stuff together, or protect each other from silly stuff. It's just, we're supposed to be constructive people on planet Earth, and it's super whack and lame that it takes being told that we're supposed to be constructive for us to think, maybe we are supposed to be constructive on planet Earth and not, having all this fun promoting death and destruction and ultimate retarding of people globally, white and not white. We're just super not doing what we're supposed to be doing. We do super silly shit all the time. Most of us, white and not white, I suspect. It just happens that a small number of very, very smart and intelligent white people were like, okay, we're gonna get serious about this race thing that we created, and we're gonna benefit forever. And so far they have been right in their assessment, and we have to prove them wrong or be slaves forever. And that was my final comment. I just want to maybe had something they forgot or came across a note they skipped over. Feel free. And is this a person who did Heat?
Michael Bay.
Yeah. I think it is.
Checking right now.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
He did Bad Boys. Wow, talk about a record.
Oh no, he didn't. That's Michael Mann.
Yeah. Like I said, you asked for Michael Bay. Michael Bay did Bad Boys, Pearl Harbor, Armageddon, fourth Transformers movies. Pain and Gain, which is based on a true story, but they made it into a comedy. But yeah, this is Michael Bay's track record.
All right, let's close out with Nyan Sason. Let's see what today's quote has in store. Let's see if the universe has aligned it to have, well, the universe creator has aligned it to have something related to racist propaganda. Let's see. Today is what? I'm led to believe it's April 24th, 2022. So I will read from April 22nd. I mean, my bad, April 24th. I will read from April 24th from Nyan Sason, A Calendar, A Revolutionary Daily Thoughts by Mawalimu K. Baruti. If you felt this information was of constructive value, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. Support if you can. Okay, so this is from April 24th. Just as a person with amnesia is doomed to walk around confused about who he or she is, where they have come from, where they are headed, and the nature of their relationships with others, so too is the African who does not know, memorialize, and understand the great suffering. And this is from Cafe Adede, Ariel D. Robertson. And I'm sure I pronounced his name very wrong, my error. And today, when people in the community are asked if they are political, almost never is a question about whether or not they politically act in the interests of African people. It is simply an inquiry as to whether they like to talk politics. No participation in action organized solely in the interests of African people is assumed. Even so, it is also used as a tool to obliquely sanction the conscious warrior scholars that Negroes and lost souls consider paranoid about whiteness. Nonetheless, asking if one is political really is a political question for Africans of consciousness. For being political means acting in a grassroots concert with other critical, knowledgeable, revolutionary African minds toward the independent physical, mental, and spiritual empowerment and liberation of African people. Being political means actively working in African interests, and working for the people means knowing who we are in contrast to those we are not. It means knowing our story as well as that of those whose relationship with us has brought us nothing but great suffering. Affirm I use the power of knowing the Mafa to act against its effects. Man, this quote reminds me of something I forgot to mention, and it's decoding. Back when the brothers are like having conflict with one another in front of Poppy character, they say to one another that I'm not like you. Oh yeah, you're right, you're not like me, you know, and that's saying something right there, you know. maybe racist man and racist woman are speaking some truth. Maybe people classified as black, people classified as white are different. Maybe we're supposed to be different. Maybe all people are different. And maybe we should still work to produce justice anyway. And we don't have to have any abstract divisions between these differences that all people have on planet Earth. But that is the way racist man and racist woman think, and we have to help them to correct that incorrect thinking so we can have justice, or they could just continue their incorrect way of thinking and kill all of us so they can have this planet, and racism will be over because non-white people will be gone, and job will be finally finished, and the creator will give us a round of applause. Anywho, that was my closing. If folks do not have a closing, that's fine. I'll give a moment. If I don't see any mics go off, I will just end the broadcast.